Welcome to the SoCalBikePT Podcast, where we talk bikes, physical therapy, and everything in between. I'm your host, Tim Wu. Alright guys, welcome back. This is the episode 2 of the SoCalBikePT Podcast. My next guest here is ready for his call up to the start line. Originally from Beverly, Massachusetts, he originally turned pro in 2006 and currently rides for Rally Pro Cycling. Along the way, he's racked up wins with the overall Nature Valley Grand Prix, a stage at both the Tour of Utah and Cascade Cycling Classic, the Delta Road Race in Canada, and he's pretty much competed in every race here in America, as well as raced extensively in Europe. And he is a former national champion in cyclocross on multiple occasions. Currently residing and training in Newbury Park, California, it's the one and only Jesse Anthony. How you doing, sir? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing very well, thank you.
All right, so first attack questions, get this race started. What's the last ride you did, and what bike were you on, and what'd you eat or drink afterwards?
Oh my goodness, this is going to be a long answer. Yesterday was the last ride I did. It was over 6-hour ride out of Borrego Springs, California, which is the middle of nowhere. I was out there for Janelle Holcomb's camp, and we had a fantastic crew. We rode, I think it was close to 8,000 or 9,000 feet of climbing, which was fantastic. Afterward, I had a dirty burrito that was delicious, and then I think I had a bowl of cereal and a banana for a snack, and later on had some Thai food for dinner.
Oh, nice. That was after you drove, the 4 hours all the way back home?
That was in the middle of the drive. We stopped for Thai food.
Sure.
Yeah, nice to break it up.
Yeah.
Oh, and I had some ice cream.
Oh, of course.
Found some ice cream in Temecula. I went 20 minutes out of my way to get it, but it was so totally worth it.
Oh, absolutely. When you need some ice cream, it's worth every bit of delay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How long were you out in Borrego Springs for that camp?
I was there for 3 days.
Oh, quality.
The whole camp was 5 days long, so I did the last 3 days.
Oh, that's exciting.
It was cool, man. It was a great crew. It was super fun group to hang out with.
Well, that's fun. Okay.
Yeah.
So now that we got the first attack out of the way, we've made the breakaway. I wanted to kind of follow up with.
That's that easy. It's never that easy.
Oh, I know.
It's never that easy to make the breakaway.
This is the TV breakaway. This is where you see the highlights of the first attack, and then all of a sudden it's 60K to go, and the breakaway is already there.
If there's TV, it's definitely not that easy.
Well, we don't have another 30 minutes or whatever to do counterattacks and get the break going, but that's good insight there. It's important to note that when you watch those pro races and you see the breakaway, it didn't just happen. There's always.
Oh my goodness, that is one of the things that us as the racers were always they can't do this to us. They're like, oh, there's a breakaway. They let these guys go. It's no, that's not how it works.
Okay, everyone who's listening, remember, from Jesse and anyone who's pro, they didn't let them go. You're missing all those counterattacks at the beginning. The workhorses on the team are completely dead from either countering or trying to put someone in the move or just being strategic. Yeah. That's rough. Yeah. So let's say we're in it now, and I wanted to follow up with the fact that you just had a pretty cool event out at the StubHub Center with Rally. I saw all over social media that you and Brad and Mateo and Rob were doing something out there. Can you tell me what that was all about?
Yeah, so that was a kids' bike giveaway with Rally. Rally's a really cool partner. A lot of people don't know what they do. They're in the healthcare industry. Their focus is really to enhance the experience for the average person, the consumer, to access their healthcare.
Right.
We all have healthcare. Most of us have health insurance. It's complicated.
Oh.
Nobody knows how to use it and what they can do with it. So Rally we are trying to encourage people with Rally to access their healthcare, figure out how it works, and Rally helps people do that.
Very cool. So did you get a chance to help some kids build some bikes, and was a pretty cool moment that you took away?
Beeline Bikes brought four of their mobile sprinters down there, built, I think it was 150 bikes, and then the Boys and Girls Club of Carson came for an event. Melvin Gordon was there, who's a running back for the LA Chargers. It's kind of focused around him, but so they do some other activities. He talks to the kids a little bit, takes some pictures, and then we hand out bikes. And we were actually teaching some kids how to ride for the first time, or like they hadn't ridden in 7 or 8 years. They're like, I don't know if I know how to ride. And so we were setting them up on bikes and helmets, and yeah, we got them rolling. It was awesome.
Oh man, it's so cool to see athletes, especially pro cyclists, like in the off season, doing these type of charitable events and really giving back to the community. So kudos on you and everyone else on Rally for doing that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I've ridden bikes since I was 3-4 years old, and where it's brought me in life has been incredible. So if I can help some kid get on a bike and just share this experience with them, and push them off and be like, go ride around your neighborhood. You never know that. Like, that's how I started. I just rode down the street, and then eventually, or I rode in my driveway probably when I was 3 years old, and now I've ridden all around the world in 4 different continents, and yeah, you never know where the bike can bring someone.
Oh, wow, that's incredible. So that's pretty cool that you're doing these kind of things in the off season. I know 2018's looking like a pretty good year for Rally. You got some new acquisitions. You guys are stepping up to the pro continental level. What are your kind of season plans, expectations? What are you excited for next year?
I'm excited for a lot of new races. I think we're stepping up the level quite a bit. We're going to be doing a lot of new events internationally that, we've never done this level of events before, or these level events. So I think we don't necessarily know our race schedule yet, but there's going to be a lot of traveling and a lot of new experiences out there, and I'm excited to do that. I've always wanted to race in Europe full time. I don't think this is going to be quite that experience. We're going to be traveling a lot, but not still based out of the U.S. But yeah, I think we got a lot of big races coming up, and yeah, I'm excited for that.
So I know you don't know your schedule yet, but what's something in the back of your mind is like, God, I wish I could go race that?
One race I've always wanted to do is Liège, Bastogne Liège. I love those one day, or Tour of Flanders, but I love those one day classics that are just super hard, punchy hills the whole time. I think Liège might be a little bit too climby for me, but Flanders would be epic.
Dude,
I don't think we're going to be doing either of those events this year.
I think you would smash in Flanders. I remember chasing you around. I think you got it.
I would be happy if I survived that race.
Oh, for sure. That'd be pretty cool. I hope you get there, because I'd be like, hey, you see Jesse? He dropped me in these kind of conditions before. He's hammering. That's pretty awesome. So you've been a pro for a while now. I remember you turned pro in 2006, and we were chatting before this interview about kind of your history with some injuries and your experience with physical therapy. And you had a really good message that I wanted you to kind of talk about. So bring us back to when you first started having some issues, and then your first encounter with a physical therapist, and then how that's enabled you to kind of keep your body healthy and be pro this long.
Yeah. So my first experience with a physical therapist was in 2004, when my back was so locked up that I was in the middle of a cyclocross race, and I just was struggling to put out any power. And I pulled out of the race, and my back had hurt for years. Since I was probably 14, I remember my back hurting when I was racing the bike, and I just thought that was part of bike racing.
Right.
But your legs hurt, your back hurts, you crash, you get flat, whatever. Things happen. This is just the sport. It's hard. So yeah, the cyclocross race just, I stopped. I was like, this is not, something's wrong. Found a physical therapist to go see, and she was just, I walked in, she checked me out, and she was just like, wow. Which is not what you want to hear from a doctor.
Yeah.
But basically my SI joint was a whole mess. My sacrum was rotated and angled at 45-degree angle. My pelvis was all twisted up, and my pelvic height was an inch different from right to left. And yeah, she was just like, I don't know how you've been walking around riding a bike like this, but I was like, well, it's a lot of pain and seemingly not very fast.
Yeah, so Jesse, how old were you when this first happened?
I was 19 at the time.
19? And
19, yeah.
What did she do for you then, and kind of educated you that you've been able to kind of manage it since then? So
first she did a bunch of manipulations and got me straightened out.
Yeah.
And then showed me some self-correcting exercises and some core strengthening exercises to start working on to, stabilize this problem.
Right.
So this was the fall of 2004. And Jody, my physical therapist, set me out these exercises, and then I started seeing her twice a week. I think it was twice a week, once or twice a week. And I was doing these exercises, I was doing everything. Now that I knew what to do to help solve the problem, I was doing all this stuff, and I was still just coming out of line every few days. And
wow.
I would go back in, she would put me back, and then keep doing my exercises. And it took 4 or 5 years of doing this consistently where I actually stabilized and was able to get it in check for the most part.
Oh, wow. And to this day, do you still manage that off the bike as well?
Yeah. So the problem still comes back once in a while. Excuse me. Even if I do work on my core strength and all that stuff, like this spring, I had a lot of really bad back issues come up, and basically the same thing. Like some back pain wasn't too bad, but I was losing a ton of power. I just couldn't go
right
or go hard. And sometimes you think, every time you have a bad day on the bike, you can't freak out and run to the doctor or the physical therapist. Like, you have bad days. Sometimes you don't feel good. So I had some experiences like that, and the problem has not flared up as bad as it did this year in several years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, to this day, I still have SI joint issues, and when it's off, it's hard to tell sometimes because it's not necessarily back pain that I experience anymore. It's just weakness. You lose power. Right.
So you're able now to kind of differentiate the feeling on the bike versus when you're just having a bad day where you need to reduce the training load?
Well, that's the problem is I'm not really able to differentiate that sometimes. Sometimes it just feels like a bad day, which you have to push through and
True.
Kind of reassess your training and your nutrition, think about sleep. Like, all right, what are all these factors that go into how you feel day to day? And it's like, oh, well, maybe I haven't been sleeping great, or, need to eat a little better. So sometimes I'll change those things up a little bit, go for a little longer, still don't feel great, and then, realize, oh, maybe I should go get checked out because something's not right.
Right. So when you realize you got to get checked out, who do you go to kind of check out your back?
Well, so my physical therapist I first saw, Jody Klein, she's in Manchester, Massachusetts, back where I grew up. And unfortunately now I can't see her very often because I live complete opposite corner of the country here in Southern California. I see a great physical therapist here, actually an hour away from me in Santa Barbara.
Oh, nice.
Diana Palmer. She's helped me since 2008 when I was coming out to Santa Barbara a lot. So I see her fairly often. I saw another physical therapist, Maury Hayashida. He's also in Santa Barbara.
Oh, nice.
So I have a whole team out here. I see a chiropractor fairly often.
Nice.
And yeah, there's just I've lined up people all over the country. If I'm in Colorado, I know I have people to call. Oregon, I have people to call.
Jesse's got it right. You gotta set up network. Your team. Absolutely, you gotta have your healthcare team that's here to take care of you. Just like pro cycling, individual results are a result of teamwork. The same thing. The individual rider needs that team behind him. The coach, the PT, the sporting director, everyone. So that's really cool that you've been able to manage this off the bike. I hear a lot of stories, both at recreational level, amateur level, and even the pro level, where this kind of injury would have ended their career and they would not ride anymore. They say, I used to ride, but now I have this issue. And so I really thought it was inspiring to hear that someone like yourself, who's a successful pro athlete, has this issue but has been proactive about managing it and is still able to perform at the highest level. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's been a journey with it because honestly I feel like it has almost taken me out of the sport before.
Right.
This is I race at the professional level and it's competitive. So this year when I had a lot of back issues and it took me months they came up really fast.
Yeah.
I think they started developing after a crash I had in April. And again, you have a crash. Sometimes you feel bad that day or the next day, and you don't know what's going on. And also, we travel so much that it's I'm not always home to go see my physical therapist here. But when they came up, it took months for me to to get a handle on it, to reset and to really focus in on the issue, and to do the exercises to make it stable again. And when I had a bad season, there was a couple months when I was riding really badly, and then came back toward the end of the year well, but I lost a lot of chances to get results.
Right.
And so when it came contract time, you look back at what you did that year, and the team's like, you didn't really, there's not a lot to show here.
Yeah.
Which is fair. I mean, that's competitive sports, and it's tough to deal with, but that's the world we live in, where it's performance based. And so if you can't perform, then you might get kicked out.
Right. Yeah, that's got to be a little bit nerve-wracking. I'm glad that you're
really
I'm glad that you're still in it and you've been able to stay on top.
Thanks. And the rally team was really good about staying behind me. Pat McCarty and Jonas Carney, our two directors, were super supportive of me the whole time. At the end of the season, they weren't bearing down on me like, hey, you got the back issues, I don't know if we want to keep you.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, we still want to keep you. We know that they saw me doing the work. They saw me going through taking the steps to get the problem solved, and they know that I was committed to coming back. So they were supportive of that. But at the same time, there's other guys out there racing well, and it's a business. So
yeah.
I would never blame them if they were like, you know what, man, I think we can't offer you a contract. It's not. I don't think that's on them. It's just that's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, pro cycling is cutthroat. It's year to year. It's results or bust. It's that's kind of the vibe I get from talking to everyone. And so managing your body as your business is definitely an extra challenge. So on that note, what's something that you swear by in order to keep your body healthy or performing at the top level now that you wish you would have known way back in the day?
It's just to go see a physical therapist or whoever it is that you have found is most helpful in keeping your body on track. Some people find chiropractors that have a lot of other different backgrounds and knowledge other than, it's not just spine cracking.
True. Absolutely.
Physical therapists also have different skill sets as physical therapists. There's all these subcategories. So for me, I would, when I was 14, if someone was like, oh, you have back pain, you should go see Jody and start getting this sorted when you're a kid. And I was growing, I was a tiny little, I don't know how, 75-pound kid or whatever. Like, you're growing. I was riding bikes that were too big for me because I thought I would grow into them, and that's what I could get my hands on. And there are so many factors. I wish, back in the day, I wish someone had pointed me toward a physical therapist and said, do this right, take care of your body. And, back then I didn't know I was going to be a professional for 12 years.
This is true.
I was always that's what the dream was, but never thought like, oh, I should start taking care of my body now so that when I'm 32, I don't feel like I'm 80.
Yeah, I don't think any 14-year-old boy has any concept of what they're doing 10, 20 years from now, and that it's important to take care of themselves now. That is beyond their comprehension. But a good message for not only the junior riders and racers out there, but also the young adult riders who in the early 20s who are invincible. It's shred the bike every day, go home feeling terrible, and that's what it's all about. These kind of things are going to creep up. People don't realize that riding a bike is a weird stimulus for your body. This is an invention that's 120 years old on a human body that has a genetic history dating back hundreds of thousands. So that kind of stimulus over that much time is going to have kind of maladaptive effects. It's going to mess with you, and it's important to get a member of the healthcare community on your side taking care of you, whether you're Jesse Anthony or the 14-year-old kid who races the borrowed bike. That's a really good point. I'm glad you made that. And I hope there's it's one of those things with social media and the way that information is shared these days. I am hopeful for people that this will catch on. Just like good nutrition,
is catching on for young athletes, for old athletes, for everybody.
Everyone.
It's easy to access the correct information and the tried and true from the people who are like myself, that are using it to the max and that are pushing ourselves to the max. And we are the people that, you know, you can look at as examples of what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
You know, we're not perfect, so you can learn a lot of what not to do from us as well.
Right.
But like, I hope that these examples do motivate people to take care of themselves. Go if they have any pain, if it's a back pain or a knee pain, or, you know, just not feeling great, you know, even, you know, emotional issues or psychological
mental health. Mental health is incredibly important.
Mental health is huge. So anything like that, like, people need, like, there are people out there to help you, and that's something that we have to, you know, continually be reminded of and take advantage of.
And it's okay to say, hey, I need some help. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of empowerment.
Exactly.
Being able to reflect. Being able to reflect and say, this part of my game is weak, whether it's, you know, this pain, this weakness, this nutrition, this sleep. Who out there has the knowledge and is willing to help me and makes me better? It doesn't make you worse. You know, that kind of proactiveness is what I bet is probably why you're still a professional.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's one of those things, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
And keeping that attitude is really important for being a professional athlete and a good athlete and a good at whatever you do, is just to be open-minded and to seek help where you need help, and to be willing to say, look, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know about this, I need to learn. And to realize that there are people in the world that specialize in everything.
Yeah.
If you can think of an issue, there's someone out there that has thought about that a lot more and studied about it a lot more than you have.
Absolutely. The riches are in the niches, and so there's a niche out there that you can find.
That's a good one.
Oh, I'm full of these ridiculously not funny one-liners. Don't worry. That's some really good insight, Jesse. I really appreciate that. And we've been in the breakaway for a while, and it's getting tired, so we're hitting the feed zone now. So I want to know, what's your favorite on the bike treat? Not the best one for you, your favorite.
All right. I'm a big fan of the Clif Mojo Mountain Mix Bar.
Ooh.
It's like a hidden gem. You can find it in grocery stores. Some bike shops stock it, but like, it's one of those kind of random flavors.
Yeah.
It's not super carb heavy. It actually has quite a bit of fat and protein in it.
Nice.
Which I've realized as I get older, I need more of those kind of things.
Yeah.
I have a sweet tooth, but I don't go for the sweets as much as I go for the savory foods now.
Oh, right.
And the mountain mix is like a perfect combination. It's got chocolate chips and raisins, but then pretzels, peanuts, and a bunch of other good stuff. So those I love. I get boxes of those.
Oh yeah, I think anyone who enjoys Clif product like I do has the one unique Clif Bar flavor that they will like hunt down and buy all of them. Mine's definitely like the cool mint chocolate.
And then on top of those, I like the Z bars, which are they're the kids bars, but those are some of the easiest digestible Clif Bars. And then they come in a bunch of different flavors that I kind of like to mix up. There's a fudge brownie one. There's an iced gingerbread one.
Oh,
there's an oatmeal cinnamon raisin one. And so you kind of like, you're like, oh, I want the chocolate. You go for the chocolate a lot. And then you're like, maybe I'll go for the spicy version.
Oh, for sure.
The cinnamon one would be good, yeah.
All right. So, last thing before we get out of the feed zone. Let's say you're taking a break from riding. I know you probably are going to take one soon. What's your favorite activity or thing to do to chill out that is not on the bike?
I usually like to hang out with friends. I like drinking coffee, so I'll go out to coffee. I'll go out to lunch. I have barbecues in my house once in a while.
Nice.
Invite a bunch of people over. Those are the kind of things I like to do. Food, usually food-oriented.
Okay, so any activity that includes friends and food. Perfect.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
I mean that's what it's all about, man.
I enjoy it, yes, very much so.
All right, so now that we're refueled and we're heading to the finish, this race has been a long one, and you've been a pro for over 10 years now, which is a pretty long time. What drives you to continue to be at your best and continue to do this pro cycling thing?
That's a great question. It's interesting as I get older, the motivation has to be, I kind of have to create the motivation. It has to be manufactured. When I was 10 years ago, when I was 22, you did not need to motivate me. Like, I was chomping at the bit. I was pushing and going for it. And I just needed to be steered in the right direction and pointed in the right direction and kind of corralled along a little bit in the right way. Now I have a lot of the good systems down. I know how to eat. I know how to take care of myself. I know how to train. And for me now, it's I have to like come up with the motivation to train. It's been challenging. The sacrifices that I make to participate in the sport, they're seemingly more, I don't know, it seems like the sacrifices are bigger now in relation to the reward. But I do still really enjoy racing. I enjoy the competitive part of the sport. And most of all, I enjoy the team aspect. I really enjoy getting together with a group of guys, getting to know them, like bonding, and then going out on a mission and working really hard together to try to accomplish some great things. And that's one of the really cool things about rally cycling growing the way it has, is that we went from 2010 when I joined the teams, this ragtag group of clean guys when the sport wasn't very clean.
Right.
And we had a small budget and we were just fighting for it, and we got some good results back then. And now we're one of the bigger teams in North America, and the sport is a lot cleaner. It's a lot different to compete now. And we get a lot of good results. Like, the team is very, very good. And I am just super happy to still be a part of it. So for me, the teamwork is really important. I have a lot that I can share with the guys, and a lot that I can contribute to the results. I'm no longer one of the more talented guys on the team, but I do have the experience from putting so many years into the sport that you just can't buy this on the market. No. You know, like, you can't just go out and find a North American pro that's been racing for 12 years. So that to me is really valuable, and I appreciate that, like the investment that I've made in myself. Yeah. And it's really fun to contribute back to the team in that way.
Yeah. Camaraderie is king. I think that's kind of the big take-home. We all just want a feeling of belonging to either a group or belonging to some higher mission than ourselves. And so
totally.
That's really cool that you figured that out. So it's hard and fast. We're hitting the sprint finish now. So speaking of hard and fast,
so this breakaway made it.
Oh, the breakaway made it. Absolutely. It's a small group.
I love when the breakaway makes it.
Yeah, you're in there. And so you're sprinting for the win now. Here's your last 3 questions.
Sick.
1, most epic, painful ride ever.
Ooh,
it can be a race too. It can be an epic or painful race. Yeah.
Oh.
There's got to be one that sticks out and you're like, that was awful. I'm selling the bike after this is over.
Yeah. All right. I'll give this one to you. Gosh, what year was it? It was last year, 2016, the Tour of California.
Ooh.
And we had a very long stage. I want to say it was 230 some odd kilometers from, somewhere in the flatlands in the Central Valley, up to Lake Tahoe.
Oh, yeah.
So, on Strava when it says, like, your largest climb?
Right.
This race was my largest climb. It was 8,126 feet or something like that.
Oh.
I might have to fact check that. But we started and we climbed. We had 30 kilometers of flat. Thankfully, the breakaway did go fairly early. They wrestled themselves away, and it was a big group, like 12 riders. Most of the teams were pretty happy. We were like, all right, that one's gone.
Yeah.
And then we climbed for 120 kilometers. Primarily uphill. There were a few rollers in there where we went slightly down, but we climbed 8,000 feet and 120 kilometers.
Oh.
It was, and I was having a terrible day on the bike.
Oh.
Honestly, this was one of those weeks that, looking back on it, I think my back was out.
Right.
I think my sacrum was probably a little crooked, and it was shutting me down a little bit because my fitness should have been really good.
Yeah.
But I just felt terrible the whole week. I was just struggling. So this. It was awful, man. I ended up racing. I was over 6.5 hours of race time, and I survived in the peloton in this climb all the way till the 5K before the KOM line when it got steeper at the end.
Oh,
if you can imagine. And I was like, so that was 156. So I was somewhere like 80K to the finish, and it was a couple of rollers, a couple of small climbs. But I was like, I know if I make it there, I can get drops. I'll make the time cut because the time cuts can be pretty big.
Oh yeah.
So I ended up in the group head-up. But dude, it was just awful. I felt awful that day. If you were having a good day, it was probably a hard stage.
Yeah.
But if you're having a bad day, like it was, and it wasn't so hard where you're like, oh, I got dropped. It was, it was tempo. They were chasing this breakaway.
Yeah.
And so it was just like this ugly tempo that I could do. So I was, I forced myself to stay in there. You got to stay in the race. So I could suffer a lot.
Right.
And it was able to go to that limit of suffering to stay in it, but it wasn't so epically hard that it was just like, oh, this is so hard. It was, yeah. Oh, man.
I mean, there's a difference between climbing 8,000 feet by yourself or, just in a specific zone. And then there's climbing 8,000 feet at the Tour of California where you're at the mercy of whoever is at the front setting tempo to keep the breakaway within reach.
Correct.
And that would make it epic. So on the other end of the spectrum, what's your favorite race, either to do or to watch? Or both, because you do everything now, so.
Yeah. The Amgen Tour of California is my favorite stage race in America. Philly is my favorite one-day race. I absolutely love Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's good.
I've had some good rides at Philly.
Yeah.
In fact, I almost always have a good day there for some reason. I always just feel good. My body's responding. And I was on the podium once, which I want to repeat. I would love to get in the top step there. Tour of California, I love that race, especially now that I live in California. It's such an awesome event. But I've had some good days there, but I've never completed a good week at the TOC.
Interesting.
There's something my body does not have a good relationship with that week.
It's Jesse Anthony's White Whale, the Tour of California.
It is. I want to go there and have a good. I had a decent week in 2013. But in 2011, I was out in 2 or 3 breakaways. I was fighting for the KOM jersey.
Yeah.
I was riding really good, and then the second to last day, my knee just completely. I get tendonitis flared up in my knee.
Right.
And I had to pull out of the race because it hurts so bad.
Right.
But that was the fittest I've ever been at the TOC.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
maybe,
so anyway, I'm just never. Yeah, I want to put together a good week there.
Hey, maybe you get on your schedule this year. That'd be really cool. We can follow up after the Tour of California.
Yeah.
All right, so it's the last push to the line, and it's going to be your time to create your legend right now. What's one piece of wisdom you would like to impart on any new rider or anyone else out there about riding or just life in general?
Gosh, I think we already went over it. It's keep your head up and learn from the people around you, and enjoy the sport. Take good things out of the sport. There's so many good things that come out of cycling: the camaraderie, the community, the exercise, the health. You have to pay attention to them, though. You have to be intentional about finding these things and focusing on them.
Yeah. Because
it's easy to get distracted with how difficult the sport is. It's a challenging sport. Eating well is hard. It takes time. Investing in the community and your friends and the other people that you are riding with. And then, like we said, admitting that you need some help. And that's not a weakness. That's how you become better at anything. So I think all those things are just super important. And they do take effort, but they're worth it. It's worth the effort because it will improve your quality of life. It will improve your quality as an athlete, and yeah.
Wow, so that was a strong finish. I think you got it at the line.
I won?
Congratulations.
We're just gonna say I won the sprint out of the breakaway.
Yeah, you won the sprint out of the breakaway on episode 2.
It may have even been a solo break, so who knows?
Yeah, you know what? It was a solo break. We can do whatever we want here. You did the from the gun solo breakaway, the most epic way to win.
I love those.
Yeah, way to go. It's been an extreme pleasure, Jesse Anthony, chatting with you today. So thank you so much for your time. Hopefully you get recovered from your last camp. And I look forward to seeing you be successful next season and also be successful with everything else in your life. I super appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim. Really appreciate the time.
Well, I hope you enjoyed episode 2 of the SoCalBikePT Podcast and today's race with Jesse Anthony of Rally Cycling. As always, follow at SoCalBikePT on Instagram and Facebook. Be sure to subscribe and follow the SoCalBikePT Podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes. See you at the next race.